Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of That Sounds Fun, The Seasons. I'm your host, Annie F. Downs. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today on the show, we're answering the question, did someone else cause this winter in my life? This is important. I think you're going to enjoy this one. And also, there's another new episode of Annie's mini BFF podcast that releases today. And I just want to make sure you knew it's part of our special mini series over on that feed for a couple of weeks leading up to the release of Where Did TJ Go? It's about who we are, why we are here, and where we are going. Make sure you're subscribed to Annie's mini BFF podcast wherever you're listening to this one. And coming in 1 week, Where Did TJ Go? Releases into the world. You can order it today wherever you love to buy books. We hope it reaches every single family that might need it and that you'd grab a couple of copies to have on hand for the next time someone you love experiences loss in their family. It is available anywhere you love to buy books. You can go ahead and order it now. And just as a reminder, at wheredidtjgo.com, I am signing book plates for you. If you've lost a child or someone in your family, there are in loving memory book plates. I've done hundreds so far, signing them with the children's names that are with Jesus, and then my autograph. And then also we can do some that are just plain me signing them or to other children. So that is at wheredidtjgo.com. Hope you'll grab your copy of that book. Before we dive into today's conversation, I want to tell you about one of our incredible sponsors, AG1. AG1 has been a part of my morning routine for a long time because I love that I can knock out getting my vitamins and nutrients I need in one drink. It's just too easy. Listen, I start my tea. While my tea is steeping, I add 1 scoop to a cup of really cold water, and I love to throw in some frozen lemon juice or a hydration multiplier. It truly helps me feel more clear-headed and ready for the day. And anytime I'm traveling, which is a lot, I've got their travel packs in my bag. Try AG1 for yourself. It's something I've actually been able to stay consistent with, and that's why we've partnered with AG1 for so long. AG1 is offering my friends, new subscribers, a free $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3 plus K2. I put that in there every day too. And you'll get 5 free travel packs in your first box. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/soundsfun to get this offer. That's drinkag1.com/soundsfun to start your new year on a healthier note. Today on the show, my friend Erin Moon is here. Y'all know we are big Popcast fans around here at AFD Inc. And I honestly can't believe it has taken us this long to get Erin on the pod. If you aren't already obsessed with our podcasting cousins over at the PMG, then let me tell you more about Erin. She's a writer, a podcaster, a storyteller. She is the resident Bible scholar and host of the Faith Adjacent podcast and senior creative at the PMG, Popcast Media Group. And her very first book, I've Got Questions, just came out last week. Today, we get to talk about it along with everything from aging and makeup to doing life with people we do not always agree with. If you're taking notes in your TSF Seasons Guidebook, today we are on page 18. If you don't have the guidebook yet and you'd like to grab it, that's at anniefdowns.com/seasons. So here's my conversation with my friend, Erin Moon. That sounds fun. How is this your first time on my show is my real question, Erin Moon.
You know, we were just waiting for we were waiting for the right moment.
Perfect right moment.
And now we're here.
I know I say this to you a lot in our friendship. I'm such a fan. I feel so lucky that I get to be friends with people I'm also fans of. So,
well,
I'm a huge fan of your work.
The feeling is mutual.
Well, thank you. You don't have to say that, but I do genuinely. I love what you guys make over at the Popcast, and yeah, I'm just such a fan of how y'all weave faith and culture. And sometimes it leans heavier one way and sometimes it leans heavier the other. And I just love it.
Yeah, I think we try not to take ourselves too seriously. Mm-hmm. Try to take maybe the faith portion seriously.
Yes.
And then on the podcast, taking the information seriously.
Yes.
But, we're not taking ourselves seriously.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A couple of things you and I need to hit right off the bat. Nail color, lipstick color. How do you choose?
I think it's vibes. For me, personally, but I like to experiment. I like to play, and then I'm a soldier for color theory now.
Yeah,
because it has changed my life.
Changed my life.
It's made my life so easy.
It is so easy. And people think you look like $1 million.
You look like an angel.
And everything's different because I'm wearing the colors that
Nope.
Our moms knew in the 80s.
They knew.
Who knew? How did this go out of style?
I do wish that we would still go to like a department store, like to JCPenney's, and they would lay all of the colors on you.
You know, that's how my mom and my sisters got it done. They went to one of those.
That's how my mom did it too.
I didn't get to get colors laid on me. I did the pictures.
Yes, I did. I did the internet version.
Because here's me also. Well, you know what I care more about? How it looks on the internet.
Okay. We're not really worried about what's happening.
In person, feel what you feel.
Who cares?
The majority of the world sees me via Instagram.
Yeah, so you got to have the right colors
That's exactly right. So has that affected your lipstick?
Yes, it has.
Same.
Well, and we probably will have to cut this, but like your perfect lipstick is the color of your nipple.
No, you didn't. We cannot cut that because I've never heard that before.
That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to cut that. We'll double check, but I think it's fine. I mean, that's true for men or women. We all have them.
Right.
But that's
true.
your perfect lipstick color.
That is supposed to be your perfect lipstick color. Like your perfect, like nude kind of everyday.
How does one at a store?
You know, that is personal between you and your God. And so whatever you need to do to figure that out.
I'm wondering how do you? Because I can't, and when I'm in Ulta, there's no photograph I can pull up or any other way I can compare directly.
You know, Sephora has a great return policy.
Okay.
So you can just maybe buy a few, take them back to the privacy of your own home, do some color testing.
Sure.
And then, you know, what doesn't work can go back.
Can go back. I do think it's very interesting that people return makeup.
Oh, I do too.
How I can't talk myself into doing it. And I'm just like, well, you spent $14 on that lipstick.
You did it.
Sorry you don't like it.
Yeah, I know. I absolutely. But, you know, they have a very great return policy. So
I just did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I should try that. My next biggest question about lipstick is the thing I really find myself, some would say, tortured by in this winter season. How do you store your lipsticks? I feel like I don't see ones that I would pick because they're in a caboodle.
First of all, are you actually using a caboodle?
I will send you a picture. I'll post a picture. It's purple. It's purple marble.
Love.
It's my caboodle from being a teenager.
I mean, I think a caboodle is a perfectly acceptable way.
I can't see all the colors. I feel like there's got to be something that other people have figured out where you can see all your lipsticks.
Yes, there probably is. I don't know that I have enough for it to be like a really intense collection that I need it to be. Now, nail polish, yes.
Yes.
I have
You're
a
an
whole
Olive
thing.
and June stan.
Listen.
You're an OG Olive and June.
I am.
Yeah.
Since they were naming polishes after Mandy Moore, I've been there. Yeah. So I love it. It's wonderful.
Do you always do your own?
Yes. I mean, since I started using them. I mean, their tab press-ons are the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I've heard they're unbelievable.
They're incredible.
Yeah. This is a reverse sponsor, as me and Eddie call it, where they aren't paying us for this. We're just talking about what we love.
But they're great.
I love Olive and June. I don't enjoy painting my own nails because I'm not good at shaping them myself. That's always my problem.
Yes, I agree. But, you know, they have like a little boot camp that you can do. And they'll teach you how. Yeah. They listen.
See,
they got it all.
That would really serve me. If someone would teach me how to shape my nails well, I could be okay with not getting them done.
Yeah, and they have the gel now. That's really good.
Right.
I mean, I feel there's it's.
So where do you store your nail polish? Do you have those stood up somewhere?
So I have these. They're like tackle boxes. And they're two-sided, so like there's a wall of nail polish on one side and a wall of nail polish on the other side, and they're like little carriers.
Adorable.
And you know, they live under the bed.
That actually sounds like what I could do with my lipstick.
You could probably. They're not, the one that I have is not tall enough for lipsticks, but I mean, you
is this from like a container store?
I don't remember where I got it. I assume something like that, or you know, Jeff
Talk
Bezos.
to me about teaching your daughters about lipstick and nail polish.
They don't want to wear it.
Oh, they're just not interested.
They don't want to wear it. They definitely don't want to wear lipstick.
Okay. Do they wear makeup at all?
Yes.
Okay.
But got to be fresh faced. They're not like anytime, like they do not want a heavy look at all.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like I did one of their makeup for like a dance and she took it all off because she was like, this is not me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad that you know that.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't need it. They're sparkling and they have so much collagen.
Yeah.
And it's just, the cheeks are juicy and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yes.
So, they don't, but they do like to paint their nails, but
do they use y'all share, or do they have their own?
No, they wait for their grandmother to come into town, and she'll take them to get a dip. That's what happens. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, let's talk for just a hot second. This was not on the list. You can tell me no to any of this. Aging, because fresh-faced. I just got my first bottle of Jergens firming lotion.
Okay.
Have you gotten into the firming lotion game yet?
I have not. I have just recently got a red light LED mask.
I really think I want one, only because of Jamie.
Yeah, well, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, whatever, Jamie is my pioneer.
Yes.
And I'm going to follow her on the Oregon Trail.
Right. I'm probably a year behind her. I'm still in Boston.
Okay.
And I'm watching her. She's
you're
way
gathering
across
supplies.
the Mississippi.
Yeah,
yes,
you're gathering.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you like that? Can you tell a difference?
Well, I mean, I just started maybe 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
So
what's supposed to happen?
I think you're just supposed to be prettier. I don't really know. But
I need to phone a friend.
Yeah, no, we do.
What's supposed to happen?
I think maybe it's encouraging collagen growth. Okay. Jamie is dying right now because we're wrong.
Yeah.
Whatever we're saying is wrong.
Does it make your skin puffy in the right way?
Maybe.
That's collagen growth, yeah.
Maybe. So
I haven't done that yet because I can't quite figure out when I would do it. Because is it like an hour?
No. Mine's 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm doing that.
10 minutes on my face and 10 minutes on my head.
What?
Because it stimulates hair growth.
Fascinating.
I do know
that.
So
you just you slide it up and
slide it
start
right
again.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Do you have more hair?
Well, again,
4
I
weeks.
just started, so I don't know. But Jamie swears that she has more hair.
Okay.
Yeah. So
put me in a price range. Are we talking 100? Are we talking 250? Are we talking up?
We're talking up. This was a saving. I'm gonna save for this.
Also, buy what you want.
No, yeah, buy what you want.
I'm just curious if this is I should think about this or I should try this.
I think there are versions of it that are maybe less expensive, but I don't know that those are working. Frankly,
right.
I honestly don't know if the other one's working. But it feels like maybe it has
every
a little
day
more
for $10. I mean, for $10 every day for 10 minutes.
No, every other. Well, you work up to it. Oh, you gotta do every
train yourself
3 days and then every 2 days.
Well, then you should definitely see a difference if they're telling you cautiously move forward.
It's like retinol. Like when you first start retinol, you can't just slap it on.
I know. You think you can, and then it burns.
And then you're like, my face is falling off.
You're like, this didn't feel this way yesterday. Why does it feel this way today?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm supposed to do every other day.
Why are we even doing it? You know, I mean, I like doing it. It's fun for me, but also I also want to embrace being an old person.
How do we do that though?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. And part of me is let's let my hair go gray. I want it. I want the gray. My husband has this incredible gray hair.
It's so cool looking.
It's amazing. I'm furious with him that he has it. But I just, every time I go and I sit in that chair and I'm like, make it blonde. I don't want it.
Some of what I tell myself is my firming lotion is the example on hand.
Firming lotion.
Is because I'm not married yet. Mm-hmm. And therefore... I'm still in the catch and release phase. You're
trying to keep it tight.
I
got it.
Yeah, and so, but then I had this long conversation with one of my friends in line at Publix this week, and we just happened to be in line next to each other. And she was talking about how she wants Botox, but her husband doesn't want her to get it, but how much she wants it.
Okay.
And I thought, I keep hearing this from married women that they are caring and their husband isn't. And I'm out here on a catch and release plan thinking this is part of the system.
Yeah. I think it depends on
certainly, yes.
what your deal is.
Yeah.
But for me, I think we all have to decide where our line is. Where are we going to go? I keep telling Ben, and no one can see this, but I keep telling Ben, if I could just get a little right here.
And I could just do this.
He's like, that's a facelift. I don't know if you know that. I'm like, oh yeah, you're probably right. So I'm trying to embrace it. And also I'm doing the red LED mask.
Yeah.
So whatever,
It's a complicated thing because we also have public faces.
Yeah.
And so there also is we are showing the next generation, whether it's everyone listening has a public face, but your children are watching how you age.
Absolutely.
The internet is watching how everyone ages, you and me and our followers, and our friend Katie, who's listening wherever she is, with her amount of Instagram followers that are all her friends in her small town.
Yeah.
We're all still watching each other age. And so there feels like a little pressure to make sure I'm aging in a way that looks like I'm aging?
Yes, because I want to be, like, I want to be aging because that's a privilege, right?
Sure.
Like, what a gift to get to age.
Yes.
But also, can I not have the saggy jowls while I'm doing it?
Why though?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
What's wrong with the jowls?
There is nothing wrong.
I know.
There is nothing wrong. I know. Patriarchy. That's what it is. It's the patriarchy.
But it's not, because the men don't care.
I think they do. They do.
Okay.
I don't. Maybe that's an outlier.
Maybe.
But I think they do.
Everything's a bell curve. Everything is a bell curve.
So true.
Yeah, it's been very, probably for 5 or 6 years, I have thought, obviously I've been in my 40s for 4.5 years. I think, okay, for the rest of my life, I get to think about, how do I want to get older in front of people?
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah. It's just really back to where to store my lipsticks. I don't know.
But and it's not just your face too. It's like your whole body. Like, I mean, if I stop my workout routine, like if I like take whatever, I'm in physical pain because I'm like, I don't want to do any of this. Yeah. But I also want to like be able to walk around if I ever have grandchildren. Like I want to be able to do that.
That's right.
So it's like you're just constantly thinking about the upkeep.
Yes.
My friend Erin calls it the obnoxious maintenance of being a person.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is 100% what it is.
Yeah, because I've been working very hard to be able to kneel again since my knee stuff.
Yeah.
And so I do a ton of leg workouts because I have proven to myself for the last 3 years that my knees needed more support than I was giving them.
Yeah.
And so it has been very interesting to be like, oh, this is just obnoxious maintenance of being a human. I am just, at this point, I'm working out to be able to do everything I want to do.
Yes, not because I'm trying to like look a certain way. It's because like I'm trying to get my body to not betray me.
Yeah, that's right. And the tiny amount of control that we have, which is just insanely tiny.
Probably not any, frankly.
Truly. And did I make my food? No. Did I grow that salad? No. I just ate? No. Did I fish for that salmon? No.
Well, and I keep, I fell while I was playing pickleball. Yeah. Like a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And I broke
weak ankles,
both of my wrists and fractured my knee.
I remember.
And I was like, this is not something that, and the worst part was as I was like standing up or like I was coming
Did you know they were both broken?
No, I continued to play.
Oh, Lord.
And I did win. So that is important.
That is important to say.
But the moment that I knew something had changed was when I was laying on the ground and I did not hear laughter. I heard, "Ma'am, are you okay? Ma'am?" I was like, oh no, we have reached.
These are not peers.
Nope, these are not my peers. I am an old to these people.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, I think that's how it is.
How was recovering from 2 broken wrists at the same time?
Not great. Yeah. Let me tell you.
Yeah. How do you mom like that with 3 kids?
You don't. You sit on a couch and you go, I can't do anything for you. I don't know how to help you. I'm here for you emotionally. But that's
I can make decisions with you.
Yes, I can absolutely.
I can boss you.
But grilled cheese is out currently, so we're not doing that.
This is great because we're in the winter. We're talking about wintry things. You have a new book that just came out called I've Got Questions, The Spiritual Practice of Having It Out with God. And today's question we're answering is, did someone else cause this winter in my life? So when you're sitting there with 2 broken wrists and you have been thrust into a winter, right? This is happening with a friend of mine who has a broken leg right now, and she is stuck on the couch.
Yeah, and it's the worst.
It's the worst. So what were you doing mentally? Like, who were you blaming? Were you blaming? What's the journey mentally when you're kind of stuck in a winter like that?
I mean, I think there has to, like, for me, I want to get back to quote unquote normal as quickly as possible, which is not. That's not how we do this.
Yes.
We pay attention to the hurt. You have to do the PT.
Yeah.
And the PT sucks. But I think it's like you have to honor what is broken. You have to go, this hurts.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Yeah.
I've done something's been done to me. I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to treat that. I'm going to tend to that.
Yeah.
And then as you go, PT starts getting harder and harder because you're working those muscles that you. Now, I did love my wrist PT because it was essentially just a hand massage.
Yeah.
Which was magical.
Did you do like rolling the ball around?
Oh yeah, and I was like, this is so hard.
Yeah.
But I think it's that like I want to skip so much of a grief process. I'm in pain. I want to get better. Let's get better so we can keep moving on.
Yes.
And sometimes it's like, no, we got to sit in this.
Yeah. In the book you do this is a read that's going to serve so many people, Erin. I'm so glad I got to read it. In it, you talk about this idea of sitting Shiva.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And which is a Jewish practice, but also what that looks like for us to do that if our church history is falling apart, if our body is falling apart, if a relationship is falling apart. Whereas we kind of go like, I mean, I cannot tell you how quick when a breakup happens, someone goes like, okay, get back on the horse.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I actually should. Time is wasting. The only way to move forward is to move on.
Yeah.
And Can you talk a little bit about sitting in that?
Well, I don't like it.
Yeah, I hate it.
I mean, you and we are not feeling people.
No.
That's not our bag. And so, but I think with Shiva, something that, and it's this incredible Jewish practice, and I think it has so much to teach us.
Yeah.
It's similar to church calendar to me. Like I'm going to move you through this. This is not easy. And to just throw someone who's grieving or in pain out to go like figure it out.
Yes.
No, there's a process here.
Yes.
There's a framework here.
Yes.
And with Shiva, it's giving you the time and the space, and it's giving you tools to move through that grief. And I mean, that is what is so powerful to me about it, is that I think we as, Western American Christians or whatever, we don't have that kind of process. We're like, hey, you need to grieve well. And whatever the heck that means.
Yeah, right.
But what we mean by that is you need to get over it because you're making me uncomfortable.
Yes.
And
how are you still sad?
Yeah.
I mean, no one would ever say that. But that is what
yeah.
How are you?
We hear it all the time.
Yes.
How is this still bothering you? But I think if you don't honor that grief, if you don't go through those processes, you're only going to get stuck there.
Well, I'll tell you what I find more is I say, I'm sorry, I need to talk about this again.
Oh my gosh.
And so I am saying,
yes,
my grief should be done by now.
Yes.
Where I go, I'm sorry you have to hear this guy's name again. I understand that I understand this, and I make 15 reasons.
Yeah, you give all the caveats.
Yeah, that's it. Because
100%.
I'm the one who thinks everyone else thinks I should be over this grief of whatever it is.
Because you've been conditioned, because you don't want to burden anyone else with it. You don't want to make you want to be happy. You want to be joyful.
Yes.
But there are times in our lives when that's not available to us. And I think if we try to pass over that, I mean, Brene Brown says it, the only way out is through.
Yes.
You've got to do the thing to move through it.
That's, what we were talking about at lunch. Thank you for coming and eating lunch with us.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
I was like, if you're in town, Erin, I want more time.
It was great.
But when we're talking about all these interviews I've been doing about my nephew TJ and just being like, I've just turned off my feelings to say the things I need to say. There will be a backside to this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the backside is, but there will be a backside.
Yeah, you will have to go through that.
Yeah.
And to not go through it would be a disservice, not only to you, but to TJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey friends, just interrupting this conversation, tell you about one of our incredible partners. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We're talking about dating this month in Single Purpose League. So of course it brings up conversations about red flags and green flags, but regardless of relationship status, we all still have a lot to learn about healthy relationships. When we talk about flags, that applies to our friendships and working relationships too. And therapy is such a helpful tool for every relationship we have, including the one you have with yourself. Therapy's truly changed my life. Y'all hear me talk about it all the time. So I encourage you to consider giving BetterHelp a try. It is done fully online, so it makes therapy affordable and convenient. You get access to a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties, and you can easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/thatsoundsfun today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thatsoundsfun. Okay, now back to our conversation with Erin. So when you think about winter and the suffering, let's kind of go into some of what your book is about, and I've got questions. I mean, there are times where winter is thrust upon us in some way.
Yeah.
There's a tragedy. There's a revelation. I remember we've had 2 times at our church where a pastor broke everyone's hearts. And that is you are shoved into a thing.
Yep, you sure
in
are.
a winter, in a moment. Like, why are we scared to ask questions sometimes in the middle of pain like that, or in the middle of church pain, in the middle of the thing that's happening right now, even in the middle of watching a show and something shows on the TV and you go, that kind of reminds me of something that happened at middle school. Never mind.
Yeah.
Why are we afraid to ask questions sometimes?
I think there's 2 reasons. I mean, there are more, but I think mainly there are 2 reasons. One is fear, because what is on the other side of that question?
Yeah.
What happens
if unravels?
What unravels? What happens when I pull that thread?
Yes.
And that's a real thing, especially when you have grown up. Speaking about, religion, if you've grown up evangelical, if you've grown up in the church, if you've grown up and you've kind of I like to say, pickled in the brine of evangelicalism, those questions, you almost come to earth with all of your questions answered, quote unquote.
Yes.
There is a reason for everything. You've got everything settled. And to pull on that, or as I told my spiritual director, I feel like I'm walking on an iced over lake. And what's going to break? What's going to be the thing that puts me in the river?
Yeah.
And so I think there's that fear. And then I also think there's the possibility of isolation. Yeah. And nobody wants to be.
It is sad when you write about that in the book.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think there are some people who honest questions they're not ready for them. And they're not ready for the idea that, you ask a question that may or may not be within the bounds of what everyone has agreed on in a certain, small group or church or, faith community, whatever. And that is scary to people. And so immediately you find yourself on the outside.
Yes.
And that is part of why I think faith exploration can be so lonely.
Yes.
And it is because part of it's personal, but a lot of it is that isolation of I was with these people. I started asking a question that made everyone uncomfortable, and now I'm out. And I think that happens a lot because people are afraid.
Yes. I am curious if you pro or con this or agree or disagree. I also think there were times I've been unwilling to ask the question because I didn't trust I'd survive.
Oh, 100%.
I didn't trust my own strength.
I think that's where the fear comes in.
Yeah.
Fear of being what if the answer is not what I want? What if the answer doesn't fit into what I thought, how I thought everything worked?
Yes. I've started being a part of God Behind Bars, the ministry that goes to prisons.
Oh, that's cool.
And they have a partnership with Crosspoint. So we do a service every Wednesday night and Thursday night at a women's prison here in Tennessee. Cool. It's very cool. But you want to talk about the change of my faith understanding.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting in church with women who are in prison is just there's just all these opportunities, Erin, to go is this whole thing bigger than I thought it was? Is this whole thing different than I thought it was? And is God bigger than I think he is? And sometimes that can even be scary.
Absolutely.
Is God okay?
Is God outside of what we have put God in?
Yeah. And he is.
And if so, oh my gosh, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's really scary. But I think to your point, what's interesting is that you worshiping along with what I would consider to be a marginalized group.
Yes.
That's
the most unreached group in America.
Really?
Yes. Prisoners are the number one unreached group in America.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and so, I think that right there, you're going to see perspectives that you've never encountered, you've never even dreamed up. I go back to this old episode of the Liturgist podcast where Propaganda is being interviewed.
I love Prop.
I love him. And he talks about how reading the slavery narratives is different for white people than it is for black people.
Sure.
And he was like, you don't understand what it's like for that freedom. That you are the oppressor in that narrative.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, the way that people see things, the way that they encounter God, the way that they're reading scripture, that they're expressing their faith, that can change me.
Yes.
That can change me through watching them, being around them, their perspectives, their experiences. It's so vast. It's just so vast,
I love a thing I carry with me a lot that you write about in the book is the idea of when we all get to heaven, we're all going to have been right and we're all going to have been wrong.
Absolutely.
Not everyone on earth. There are some, I'm not saying everyone. I'm saying all of us that claim Christ. We will all have been right and we will all have been wrong about things.
We're all wrong about something.
Yes, right. Yes. And I think part of, if we're thinking in the winter season, part of the isolation can feel like I've got it right and so I can't be in relationship with people who don't, or I think I've got all this wrong. And so how do we suss out being in a relationship with people who have different rights and wrongs than us about some things?
Well, we are just by default.
Yeah.
Because that's just true. Like you and I, we have our Venn diagram overlaps, but not on everything.
That's right.
Because you're Annie and I'm Erin.
Yes.
But I think with those, I think you have to decide what is it about being right or is it about love? Like what is your purpose? For me, I had to say my purpose is not to be correct, to have the correct like it does not say for God so loved the world that he gave his only son that whosoever has correct theology.
Right.
That's not what it says.
Right.
And so I think so much of this we want to make a claim that we are correct. We've done the right thing. We believe the right things. All of our little hermeneutics and everything lines up perfectly. But I think one, humility is so important because you're going to be wrong. I'm going to be wrong. The things that we're right about, we don't even know if we're right about them. Yeah.
And the humility line is, do I actually think you're giving your very best to know and learn? And like, do I believe you're trying? Not, I'm pointing at you, but I mean the greater you.
Yeah.
Do I actually believe that the person I'm in disagreement with in some way, that they are actually trying to do the right thing? I think, and that's humility.
Yeah. I think I have to trust Holy Spirit in you and you have to trust Holy Spirit in me. And that's hard.
Yes.
That's so hard.
Yes.
Because sometimes my Holy Spirit may say different things.
Hey, listen.
And that's...
How many Christian men have ghosted women? Or Christian women have ghosted men and you go, same Holy Spirit?
Yeah.
Same Holy Ghost in both of these?
Doesn't feel like it.
And you treated me like that and I treated you... Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in a dating sense, it is very complicated to trust the Holy Spirit's work in both people.
I mean, 100%. And so I think so much of that, you have to put down your pride about being right.
Yeah.
And I think you have to offer love. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying like if this is a toxic relationship or a relationship that's abusive or anything like that. Obviously, those are the caveats. But but if you lead with wanting to be correct, you're never going to reach true intimacy with someone.
Yeah. You say, so who's right and who's wrong? If we're really going to put stock in this whole it's a mystery business, then why are we getting so hot and bothered when we feel the family going rogue? Or maybe we're the ones going rogue. How can any of us be so sure? I mean, it's such a beautiful thought. One of my favorite things about your book is how you make space for us to be like, I'm figuring it out too.
Yeah.
I'm figuring it out. And we're all figuring it out. And you can ask questions and not be afraid.
Yeah.
Not be afraid. And I think winter questions feel scarier to me than summer questions. Some of that's my personality.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, it's already dark and cold. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to do my best to cross stitch and sit in front of a fireplace and watch a TV show and not do the hard work.
Allowing yourself to move through the seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what's powerful about the church calendar. That's what's powerful about something like Shiva. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like there are like the whole world follows the seasons. Like it is built into, I think, like who we are as people.
Yes.
And so we should honor that. And we should pay attention to what has died, what is potentially going to rise again in us. I think if you ignore winter, there's no spring. Yeah. There's no summer.
You're right. One of the things you talk about in the book, and you've already mentioned here, is your spiritual director. Mm-hmm. How did you decide spiritual director versus counseling? Do you do both times? Okay.
Do both.
What will you kind of talk us through? Like if someone's listening and they're like, man, I need someone to help me. How do we know where we're going?
I think for me, like a spiritual director is someone who's going to almost help midwife my like hearing from God a little bit. It's not therapy.
Yes.
It is more, it is way more intimate, I think, truly.
I do
and
too.
Therapy for me is more, hey, you've got some issues, and we're going to work through them.
Yes.
But and it does obviously have to do with God, because I love God and I'm a believer in all of that, and that touches everything. But I think spiritual direction is just more, what is the relationship between me and God, and what are you seeing on the outside of it, and how do you experience it?
Yes.
And just talking through through that with someone is really powerful for me.
I mean, for your personality and for my personality, the few times I've done spiritual direction, there's this lovely spiritual director here. It just is so not my personality.
Oh, yeah.
So every time, are you just going like, I feel like I tied my horse to a fence.
Yeah. Well, and what I try to do is I try to go, okay, just do it. Just do the thing.
Yeah.
I had this one, I talk about her in the book. I had this one, she was like, let's just work through some scenarios. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Like that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But then if I buy in, if I go with her on that, it is always fruitful.
Yes.
It always is.
Yes. My spiritual director texted me, I don't know, a month ago. And she said, hey, I have you on the calendar today at 4:00. Does that still work? And I was like,
does
no.
it?
Also, I don't have an appointment with you, but is this the Lord? Are you telling me? Do I need an appointment with you? And she was like, oh my gosh, hilarious. I have another client named Annie. I texted the wrong Annie.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I was like, yeah, I should probably, can we go ahead and do something?
Yeah, this was a nudge.
The Lord.
This was a nudge.
Yeah. But so then for you, counseling is more tools?
Yeah. It's more, I'm talking through relationships. I'm talking through, the stuff that's going on in my head, as opposed to this intimate relationship with God that I like a guide. I like a framework. I'm a checklist girl.
Yeah.
And anyone who can, I love a guru. So hold my hand and let's do it together.
Yes.
I really like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the book, you talk a lot about the Michelangelo painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel.
Mm-hmm. The creation of Adam. Yeah.
Will you tell a little bit of that story for this, about the brain, all the brain stuff?
Yeah. So
this is wild to me.
It's so crazy. So Sistine Chapel, the creation of Adam, obviously one of the most famous.
If y'all can Google it, but it's where you see God's finger reaching toward Adam's
reaching
finger.
toward Adam. And, it's first of all, Michelangelo is
how high is the ceiling? Is it how did he get up there?
Scaffolding.
Okay.
And there was scaffolding, and he either would lay down and do it right in front of his face, or he would stand up and, out of control, just truly out of control.
Can you put a century on it? I don't even know when he was. Sorry, 1600s?
1500s. Yeah.
Okay.
So he is Sistine Chapel. He's not even, the thing about Michelangelo, he's not even a painter. That's not his first thing.
Right.
He's a sculptor. And have you ever seen the David?
Yes. Unbelievable.
It is shocking.
Yes.
It's shocking. I thought it's a statue, whatever. No, it is shocking.
It is shocking. I tend to think statues are shocking, that someone can carve something.
Oh my gosh.
The Met in New York, I'm always like, how? How did y'all all do this?
Yeah.
All these artists were able to create this.
I don't even know how they sculpt the little cherubs in the gardens.
Thank you.
Same, but that's out of control.
The size of David, the detail on his toes.
Oh my
his
gosh.
muscle, it is wild.
And the fact that it was a bad piece of marble.
Right.
Yeah, a weak piece of, just give it all to me. But anyway, so Michelangelo, he's painting the Sistine Chapel, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, fast forward 500 years to us, our time. And this gynecologist, he writes this paper and he's like, hey, I think that Michelangelo, the painting, if you put a anatomically correct image of a brain on that painting, he has essentially made God in a brain. And there are all these images around it.
Insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
First of all, it wasn't even an okay thing for them to do, to open up bodies and look at brain. That was hey, we don't do that because how will we be resurrected again?
Right.
But anyway, so there is so much detail. When you go if you go Google it, you'll be like, oh no, that little image is part of the, I don't know what even are brain parts. I can't even remember it off the top of my head.
Amygdala.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to think.
Was it?
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Anyway, but
no one's paying us to know that stuff. That's not what I'm here for. Yeah.
I wrote it. It's done.
That's
I don't even know.
That's right.
But anyway,
it's a fun part of the book.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's so anyway. So like everybody's like, this is amazing. Oh my gosh, Michelangelo did this. What a genius. So then they like 20 years after that, these two doctors, they realized that there's another part of the Sistine Chapel where it's like the lighting is really weird and like God's neck looks bizarre. Like it's like Michelangelo's a genius. Like why you put a larynx and a voice box over that and it's the same thing. Man's larynx over God's neck. And what I love about that is it reminds me of Paul saying, like, we have the mind of Christ.
Yes.
We have the voice of God. We are the body of Christ. Like, to me, and that's just the perfect example to me of what that could possibly look like.
I think the reason it came to my mind is when you think of all these questions stirring up in you, all these sadness and grief and longing and sitting Shiva and all that. And then you kind of go, is there any hope in any of this?
Yeah.
Then you're like, look at the Sistine Chapel. Yeah. Like look at the way that God is so intricately in all of it. You're going to be all right. Michelangelo's all right. He has all his questions answered now. It's going to be all right.
Yeah. I mean, even though he did paint himself as a empty skin suit, at the front of the Last Judgment, which is hilarious.
It's a shocking thing.
It's
what
hilarious.
A wild person. Also, 500 years ago.
Yeah,
that is the idea that 500 years feels like a very long time ago.
Yes, it does.
And you go like, and they like wore clothes and painted things that we still look at.
They
like ate food.
Yeah.
They were like people.
Yeah, they absolutely were.
It's amazing to me.
It really is. It's so fascinating
that we still look at their art.
And it still means something.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I think that's so important. Like, God has given us so many means through which we can understand the world and understand his creation. And I think artists are 100% a part of that.
Hey friends, just interrupting this conversation one more time. Tell you about one of our incredible partners, Thrive Causemetics. If you've been eyeing Thrive Causemetics because you want to give it a try but are curious which product to start with, speaking of your eyes, I'm telling you, it is their Liquid Lash Extension Mascara. I love it so much. Y'all ask a lot about my lashes, and no, I do not have lash extensions currently. Thrive Mascara makes my lashes look so long, but it also doesn't clump or smudge or flake. It also comes off really easily at the end of the day. It is the best. And whether you want a more natural look or you're prepping for a night out and need full glam, they have what you need. And their products are certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients. Plus, for every product purchase, Thrive Causemetics donates products and funds to help communities thrive. Thrive Causemetics is luxury beauty that gives back. Right now, my friends can get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/TSF. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/TSF for 20% off your first order. And now back to finish up this conversation with Erin. This is an off-script question about heaven.
Okay.
Ready?
All right. Just chill.
What would you imagine? We're doing a lot of thinking about heaven, partly because of the TJ book, and because I'm answering a lot of questions about heaven. And what do you think how do you think art's going to play in? Are we going to have art hanging in our houses?
Yeah.
I would think so.
I hope
artists get to keep making things.
I mean, I think, I don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
God is constantly creating.
Yeah.
He hasn't stopped creating.
Right.
And so, I think that's such a crucial part of even our relationship with God through creation, through the things that we make or the things how we work or whatever. That's a part of our connection with God.
Yeah.
And so we're going to work on the new earth, so I don't know why we wouldn't do art.
That's great. I just hope we can travel without jet lag. That's one of my big.
Oh yeah, my husband really wants to do. He thinks that it's going to be time and space travel with Jesus, and Jesus is going to take him to maybe ancient Rome, and then they get to see, and then he's going to take him to his favorite Bible study, and they get to kind of see it like he's Doctor Who.
Okay,
that is. I mean,
why not? Yeah, why can't Ben Moon be right?
Temporal-spatial travel with Jesus. Yeah.
I mostly want to have access to go anywhere on the current Earth.
Okay.
Like I want.
You're not trying to go to Mars.
No. And I'm not trying to time travel, though I'm available to it.
Okay.
I'm available to it. I'm trying to go to the bottom of the ocean in a safe manner.
Okay.
Right now there's sharks.
Right. And
I want to go to the bottom of the ocean, and then I want to say, I'm done here. Can I go to Greenland?
Yeah.
And then I'm in Greenland, and then I'm done here. Can I go to Australia?
So you just want space. You just want I
just want to move.
Yeah.
I want to go where I want to go at the speed I want to go there.
I love that you're I got to see the Mariana Trench right now.
That's it.
Got to see it.
Are there Megs down there?
Yeah,
that's what I have to know. I have to know.
Thank you.
Okay, here I've done it really now. Okay. I want to ask you one more thing in this line, particularly when we're thinking about winter and with your book. There are people who feel a lot, and you talk about this so beautifully in the book, about the power of rage.
Mm-hmm.
I punched my guest bed in such an aggressive manner a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this feels great. Mm-hmm. I haven't done a thing like this in probably since I was at on-site, and that's one of the options you have is to practice some of that. Why does rage matter in our faith life, though?
Well, I think we have to be really careful where we spend our anger capital regarding faith. Because, I mean, it doesn't take anything to look around and go, well, there's a lot to make me angry.
Yes.
100%.
That's right.
But I think, Paul says, be angry, do not sin. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I think who's the best model for not sinning?
Yeah.
Obviously Jesus. So let's go to when Jesus was angry.
Oh man, I love when you do this in the book.
So let's go to when Jesus was angry. And the most famous, the one everybody loves, is turning over tables. Turn over those tables in the temple. And, what was it? What was the core reason that Jesus made a whip out of cords and started just going whole hog on everybody? It was because people had put up a barrier for people who were vulnerable to worship God.
Yes.
They were dehumanized.
Yes.
And so to me...
Because of the price.
Right.
That's just for anybody who hasn't thought that all the way through. It's because it wasn't that they blocked the gates. It's that they couldn't afford...
They couldn't afford the sacrifice.
Yes.
Because they had jacked up the price so much.
Yes.
Which, that's not okay.
Right.
So then we have Jesus saying, no one, we're not I'm about to rip this veil down.
Yeah.
I don't want there to be any barriers between us.
Yeah.
And so I think I think rage is so helpful. One, because you can feel it and you have to feel it. If you are angry, it's not like you can go, I'm not angry anymore.
Right.
Or you can, but like Maya Angelou says, it's gonna build a cancer.
Yeah, to me, that's the one that can't live in my body.
Yeah.
I can push down sadness, I can push down grief, I can distract away from that. When I get real proper angry, that one makes my heart race. I can't breathe.
Yeah.
That one has to expel itself.
Yeah, 100%. And so I think I think you have to decide what you're going to, what makes you upset, what angers you about whatever, questions, dehumanization of other people, whatever it is. And then you cannot let everything make you angry. I think and that's really hard for me.
You do that really well, though.
I don't know.
You do. I mean, I've heard you talk about it before, and we're on sharing internet, so I see places you are that you could get angrier than you do.
But I think the North Star to that is why is this making me angry? I think we got to ask ourselves that question, because if it's about our comfort, if it's about our safety, if it raises us up in order for and someone else has to be pushed down, we got to check that. That's not be angry and do not sin.
Yes.
when we utilize our anger on behalf of God's people, on behalf of the vulnerable, the marginalized, that looks like Christ. But anger should be propulsive. It should not be something that just you sit with.
Yeah.
It should make you do something.
Yeah.
It should make you work for something, see a change.
Yes. So in a world where we are angry, but we recognize we're angry because we're getting uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or we're angry because we're jealous. Mm-hmm. What's your propulsion move when the anger is version of sin or could lead to sin? Right? So I'm angry because I saw somebody say something on Instagram that I don't agree with, and I think it's bad.
Yeah.
That's just the easiest word. But I'm not going to comment because how does that serve? What do I do with the anger in me then?
I think you have to redirect it. So say, okay, this person made me mad. This person said something that just really chaps my hide.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Why is that making me mad? Asking and then going to the root cause. And then taking that feeling and putting it into something productive. Yeah. Into something that does actually mean something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Taking that energy.
Yes.
And not giving it over to jealousy or, whatever else, envy, any of that, and putting it somewhere where it can be productive.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to remember because there are some people, it's been so interesting this year so far to talk about winter so long, even though not everybody listening is living in a winter. Sure. There are people who are living in Australia and it's summer. And so it's not just weather winter. It's like what's going on internally. And there have been so many comments of, I feel like I've been in a winter for years. I feel like I don't know when I'm ever going to get out of winter. And I think, what are you doing with your anger? Not in a judgmenty way, but how are you doing this? Yeah. If chronic illness or there are times where relationship falling apart keeps someone in a winter for so long. And so I think it's important for people to hear you say that anger is a propellant because it's just a good reminder that your anger is going to take you somewhere. You just kind of get to decide the banks of the river.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's really good to remember. I don't know that I remember that enough.
Well, it's really hard to when you feel accosted. Yeah. It's hard because you don't feel safe or you don't feel like you can do the thing that you want to do. That's where I think the actual hands in the dirt faith living out comes in. It's like, oh no, this is where it happens.
Yeah. Because I think some of what I was taught, and so some of nature and some of nurture for me, nature being my Enneagram 7-ness, how I'm built, and my nurture being growing up in a Christian world is don't be mad.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get mad.
Especially for women.
Yeah.
Especially for women of color.
Yes. I love how you address that in the book, how different it is for white women versus women of color.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think anger is annoying to people who are not with you. Yeah. And so it's very difficult to see that and try to apply it to everyone, I think. I think that is really tricky.
Yeah, I'm new to anger. It's probably
welcome.
Thank you. It's probably only been 4 or 5 years that I've really accessed it and been like, okay, that's what this is. Before that, because I thought I couldn't, or because I didn't ever want to. Yeah. I didn't call it that. I knew I felt it, but I didn't call it that. Yeah. Ashley and I will joke sometimes where she's like, what do you feel? And I'm like, who can know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing.
What?
What are you talking about?
Feelings.
Yeah. So then she says, what do you think? And I was like, well, I can tell you what I think. Yeah. I am furious. And so the interesting thing I said to someone just the other day after I punched my bed so much is I said, the interesting thing is I'm so glad I know that's anger because I know there's something to be done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's something to do. And I think we are taught, again, being pickled in that brine. Yeah. This is not meek. It is
gentle
not
Jesus,
gentle,
meek and mild.
Which, yes, absolutely. But we also have examples of him getting real mad about important things. Yeah. And things that affected the way that people could be near him. Yeah. And so I think if you can figure out where Jesus is mad and you can follow that, then everything else you can go, okay, well, I got to work this out.
That's really good. When I was reading the chapter titles, by the way, and one of the chapters is called White Lion Hot Dog Jonathan Jesus, I was like, she's certainly talking about Jonathan Rubin. You are.
I am. I'm a huge The Chosen fan.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with it.
Let's finish there. Tell me a little bit about, again, and then I'm going to tell you my Lent plan, but tell me a little bit about why you think The Chosen is such a gift.
It is humanized the scriptures, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like Apocrypha a little bit. It's like getting a Bible commentary.
Yes.
And I love, like, first of all, it's just impeccably directed, acted. It's beautiful.
Yes.
And I think there is such a gift to see a depiction of Christ in the way that Jonathan does it, where it's not like he is fully God and also fully man.
Yeah.
And Jesus joking around.
Yeah.
Jesus being funny.
When he and Lazarus are throwing the ball back and forth, and Jesus is a bad athlete.
It's great.
I'm like, that is so funny.
It's so great. And I think even with the disciples, like we tend to see these people as they are in the stained glass.
As they are that you had at your church and I had at mine, the Kenneth Wyatt discipleship paintings.
Oh my gosh.
Died. I went and Googled it when I read it, and I was like, yep, those were down the hallway.
You had those?
The exact same ones in our church.
Had to be just a Texas thing.
No, Marietta, Georgia. I bet they're still there. I should go by First Methodist Marietta and see. They are down the hallway. And Judas is such a weird shade.
Judas is so mean.
He's so weird.
So crusty
But
looking.
they are all white guys, which is problematic because they're Middle Eastern in real life. But they all had such different personality. But that is how we've always seen them.
Peter looking built.
Such a good, strong fisherman. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I'm being like, that's a good arm, Peter.
I could not believe when you mentioned those in the book. I immediately Googled it to be like, I think I know exactly what she's talking about. You are.
So funny.
So that's what we've always pictured to some degree, right?
Yeah, and I think it's so easy to not. It's sacred imagination.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I love when you describe that.
And that's Dr. Wilda Gaffney. She came up with that phrase. But I think there is something to it. And oh my gosh, the way they are doing Judas is just killing me.
Listen, I'm glad you talk about Judas. And the sacred imagination is important because that's how we can think about heaven and wonder what artists are doing.
Yes.
And how we can think about The Chosen and Jesus and what was really like. But when you talk in the book about having compassion for Judas, that is what The Chosen is doing. Is the day the first time you see Judas and you know it's Judas, you're like, oh no,
just a person.
He's so kind.
He's so sweet.
He has the best eyes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that actor's eyes.
Right. And then you just go like, you're a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like at some point is going to start making little choices. And you become Judas.
Which we all do. We all do it. If it's not true for Judas, then it can't be.
It's going to be
for
awful
us.
to watch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So here's my Lent plan.
Okay.
I'm going to watch one episode a day.
Oh, I think that's smart.
Monday through Friday. If you start on Ash Wednesday, you end on Maundy Thursday.
Well, that's perfect.
That's what I thought too. So I'm going to watch one episode because then I'm like, well, I'm going to watch an hour of TV every day, probably.
Probably, yeah.
So let's redeem it a little bit.
Sure.
I've also had this dream. You know how yes, you do, Taylor Swift, when she was doing the Eras tour, there were people who had poster boards of all the songs and wanted to check off when she did all the secret songs. So I kind of want to do that with every story in the Gospels. I like that. And see, do they actually hit every story in the Gospels over these 7 seasons?
You should do that. Make a big poster.
Make a big poster. I'm going to make a big poster.
I think you should.
And, but I thought this is the time when I can walk toward Easter in a really interesting, different way.
Yeah.
And the first 4 seasons fit over Lent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love The Chosen.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Can we finish with you talking about Taylor Swift for just a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Did you just love her?
Listen.
You saw the Eras tour once?
I saw the Eras tour once. It was magical.
Did you have problems with the witchcrafty part? I did.
I didn't read it. It didn't read as witchcraft to me.
Okay.
It read as like forest feral.
Yeah.
Feral. Whatever. But I think what I love about Taylor is that she builds communal effervescence for people.
Yeah, beautiful language.
And that moment of like screaming your favorite song with 50,000 other people.
Yeah.
And then Jamie and I went to see her together.
Yeah.
And just walking back to the hotel.
What city did y'all go to?
We went to Atlanta.
Okay.
And walking back to the hotel And just hearing like women, you look amazing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
you're so cute. You
yes.
know, it was, I was like, this is like sisterhood.
Yes.
And this is something so beautiful. I don't know. It almost transcends her a little bit.
Yes.
I mean,
I think that is actually the thing to pay the most attention to. If you don't like her lyrics, I don't care. Fine. Sure. You don't have to like her.
Sure.
I do not like Dave Matthews Band. Just never have.
Yeah.
So I wish everyone well that does.
Yeah.
So you don't have to like Taylor Swift's music, but the thing to watch is how she has convinced everyone in the audience that they are friends with everyone else.
Yes. And I think that is, I mean, the friendship bracelets thing.
Oh,
it's just
adorable.
It's so it is you belong.
Yes.
It's about belonging.
Yes. Yes.
And all you have to do is show up and know a song.
If you want to.
If you want to.
Yeah. You don't even have to know a song. Just show up and everyone's going to assume that your friend, you agree with them.
Yes.
They're going to assume you agree with them.
And they're not going to make you feel bad for not knowing.
No.
I think that's what's fun.
Yeah.
Now listen, there are some Swifties who they are a little too much.
Yeah, there's idolatry happening.
Well, and I think like
sure.
there
But there is for every artist. That is not unique to Taylor Swift.
But I think, some people, they're going a little too hard in the paint for her.
Yeah, agree.
And but anyway, I do think there is something really, really beautiful.
That's the thing I've watched the most is going like, how did she convince everyone that everyone in that arena was as cool as they are?
Yeah.
And that that you can show up wearing whatever you want and you're going to get catcalled by girls. By friends.
I've never felt so safe in my whole life.
Literally.
I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah. And so I'm really moved by her ability to make people feel like they belong. That's the word. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly right. Okay, what do we not say that you want to say, Erin Moon?
Oh no. I mean, I think we hit it all. We talked about how mad we are.
Yeah. We had some good time on being mad.
Taylor Swift. It was great.
Thank you so much for writing this book. I think it is going to serve so many people.
I'm glad.
So I'm really grateful. And would you please come back sometime?
Yes, I would love to.
Because the show is called That Sounds Fun, you do have to answer. Tell me what sounds fun to you. What are the Moons doing for fun these days?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Or just yourself.
I think it is that communal effervescence is what sounds fun. I don't know if you follow Kate Kennedy. She does Be There in 5. She has the Be There in 5 podcast. But she will do these events called Track 5.
Yeah.
And it is essentially just like a giant Taylor Swift dance party.
Oh, cute.
And I mean, and you are with people who love it. I mean, it's almost like a mini concert thing, but it's like even like something like the Olympics.
Yeah,
watching the Olympics together, like doing
I love
like
that stuff too.
Tweeting through the Oscars.
It's the only thing I miss about Twitter.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Live events.
Yeah, I mean, I'm begging for Blue Sky to be a thing.
Yeah,
but I think that feeling of all being together.
Yes,
and being just joyful about the thing.
Yes,
that is what always sounds fun to me.
Like, I can't even tell you the year, maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, the Nashville Predators went into the playoffs.
Oh, yes. When
I tell you our town was different for about a week, it was all anybody talked about. Mm-hmm. Everybody was watching every game.
Yeah.
And our whole town was doing that. Yeah. And you were like, this is the most fun I've ever had. And I didn't care about hockey for 1 minute before right now.
No, it's community.
It's so fun.
But you're all focused on that one thing. And
I like the surprise ones better. Like Kate Kennedy, as I said. Yeah. One of hers, that like those kind of things where you're like, I don't know, versus a sporting event is so fun. Yeah. Like going to a game is so fun, but you kind of know we're all going to be Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. I hope they score. I hope they win. The national championship. I'm not married yet, but it was the best feeling I've ever had in my life.
I mean, listen.
It was unbelievable. I've never experienced anything like when we won the national championship, but the surprise ones.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, are we all about to sing the same thing?
Is this happening?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a great answer.
Yeah, that's my
We try not
feeling.
to judge fun, but I agree with you a lot about that answer. That's
good.
Such a good feeling. My sacred imagination says heaven will be just a collection of those.
Yeah.
I think
you're right.
Really fun things together.
I think you're absolutely right.
I love you, friend. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You guys, don't you love her? She is so great. Okay, after hearing our conversation, if you feel like this book would serve you, it is called I've Got Questions, and you can grab it wherever you love to buy books. Make sure you're following Erin on social media. Tell her thank you for being on the show today. If you enjoyed this episode, you got to go back and listen to our 2019 episode with the rest of the team, Knox McCoy and Jamie Golden. We've linked it for you in the show notes. If you have any questions from this episode, drop them in the Q&A box on your Spotify app if you're a Spotify listener like me, or send them to us on Instagram at That Sounds Fun Podcast. We'll try to answer them there. If you need anything else from me, you know I'm embarrassingly easy to find. Annie F. Downs on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Anywhere you need me, that's where you can find me. I think that's it for me today, friends. Go out or stay home. Do something that sounds fun to you, and I will do the same. Today, what sounds fun to me is my first Monday in New York in a while. I'm so happy to be home. I'm probably going to eat a bagel. That's probably in my spirit. That is my today. Y'all have a great week. Remember, we only release on Mondays right now, so we'll see you back here on Monday. Next week, we get to release our latest kids book, Where Did TJ Go? So, of course, on the podcast on Monday, I'm honored to introduce you to my sister, Tatum Green, and bring back one of our favorite therapists, David Thomas, as the three of us talk about the story of losing my nephew, TJ, and what it's looked like to create this book as a tool for families who need the reminder of the hope of heaven. There is good news, even in sad stories. I can't wait for you to hear our families. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great week.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Check 1, 2 on the microphone. Annie F. Downs in your car to your home. Every week it's something new. A deep talk or an interview. She'll make you laugh, she'll make you cry. When it's dark out, she's a light. When you're down, get you feeling right. Oh man, that sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
Oh.